All right, welcome back to another episode of Run Mountain Peaks. Today we did the North Tripyramid slide. So we did the Tripyramids, and I'm back in the Livermore Trailhead parking lot. And today's episode, we're gonna talk about the Trail World Championships. So they already had the uphill and the short trail race. So we'll talk about the results quick on that. And then this weekend is gonna be the long race and the up down. So 2 more races to look forward to. So we'll kind of talk about who's going to be in that, do a quick little preview of that. Kind of exciting weekend there. And then we're going to talk about the Boott Spur Throwdown. We're just going to mention it briefly. I think the results, the next few days, I mean, this weekend's pretty nice, and the next couple days are going to be nice too. So I'm sure there'll be a few more people that go on that, but we'll do like a full recap of that in October. So next episode, who was the top placers and then who else finished and had good times there. We're also going to talk about, I'm going to go through maybe like a week of my training at the end of the episode. I posted a couple videos. I don't know if they were good or not, but I was thinking maybe instead of doing like a weekly training plan or weekly kind of videos like that, I could just put into the like at the end of these podcasts, like what I've been doing and just like go through my training quick. I think it'll be like a little bit better of a place to do that as opposed to like the videos I've been posting on my YouTube. So we'll do that. I'm going to talk a little bit about how hard you should be doing speed work and like the couple different kinds of speed work that I do and what I found from that. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And yeah, I mean, it's fall in the whites. It is peak foliage season now / coming up, so it's getting pretty busy up there. And so we'll just touch on some White Mountains, New England fall stuff. Yeah, so I guess just jumping in to the Trail World Championships. So they had the uphill, and to be honest, I don't follow this stuff like super close. I know they've had I think they had some live streams going, and it seemed like it was a pretty big thing when I was looking it up. But I don't know all these people like super well, but it is kind of like cool to follow. I know like it's definitely exciting when we have like the U.S. Trail Championships, especially when that's hosted locally. That's like super fun to follow. I feel like this is like the next step up from that, obviously worldwide. So some of these people, I have no idea who they are, but some of them, you know who they are. So they started with the uphill race. So for the uphill race, the winner, and I think this was something that, obviously the trail scene is getting bigger and more popular. And I don't know if I heard this last year or the year before, but I heard that like everyone knows, or road running is like much more popular. Everyone knows of like the marathoners, the road runners, and I think that is like a huge sport. There's way more pros in that. There's way more money in that stuff and like coverage, and I think people get super excited about that stuff. And I think everyone knows that like the best marathoners in the world are Kenyans. They just live, breathe, training and running. And I think the last couple years, like some have been transitioning into like focusing more on the trail stuff. So not just like solely focused on marathons. So last year, I think the winner was Patrick Kipgino. We'll just keep it at that. And so I think there was a little bit of like, now these crazy fast guys are gonna start taking over the trail world. But this year in the uphill race, René Bonnet from Switzerland, he won, and he won in big fashion. So, I mean, I think it's a VK, I would assume. I don't know the full stats on it, but he won in 37:50, beating second and third place, both Kenyan runners that ran in the 39s. So he won by over a minute, which is, I mean, I feel like that's kind of crazy. That is a huge, it was not even close. Remy went out there and kicked some butt. So that was cool to see. I mean, it's just cool to see that these races are getting like super competitive. And I think it's just crazy, I don't know, I feel like world championships, like in the Olympics, when you have kind of like world events, the times are so close. But here, like winning by a minute on an uphill and obviously it's faster than a 10K, but in less than 40 minutes is kind of insane that he was that far ahead of everyone else. So Remy Bonnet, he was the winner in the men's race. Christian Allen from the U.S., 4th place. Didn't get the podium, but he came in 39.28, so oh, Christian Allen. I haven't heard of him, but dude is super fast, one of the fastest runners in the world. In the women's race, it was a little bit closer, so the top 3 were all within 30 seconds of each other. Nina Engelhardt won from Germany, and then 3rd place, Anna Gibson, who I've heard her name before. She must be super strong. Obviously, she came in 3rd, so she podiumed at the World. So USA representing there. And then the short race, honestly, I looked at the results. I don't know. I don't have them in front of me, and honestly, I don't know if anyone from the U.S. or anyone I knew was in there. So we're gonna skip the short trail. No offense, just don't have it, and get into the stuff and get into the meat of it. So the long trail. So this is the 50-mile championship race. Got some big names in it. So this is, I believe it's going to be run today, Saturday. So we can talk maybe next weekend about the results of it. But in this race from the U.S., you got Jim Walmsley. So obviously one of the GOATs, Jim Walmsley, is going to go after the 50-mile trail race. So obviously he's going to be one of the favorites. And then Zach Miller from the U.S. is also going to be in this race. I feel like Zach Miller is your favorite ultra runner's favorite ultra runner. Just gritty. I don't know, watch anything by Zach Miller, with anything with Zach Miller in it, and it'll get you fired up. Yeah, earlier this summer he came in 5th at Hard Rock, so I don't think obviously that was went as well as he wanted to go, but 2nd and 5th places finishes at UTMB in 2023 and 2022. Zach Miller's a beast, so he's going to be in that race. And then Caleb Olson. Obviously, Caleb Olson made waves at Western States this year. He is also going to be taking that on, and I'm sure he's one of the favorites. I think it is funny. So I was watching the end. I think it was live in the live stream for Western States, but I was watching when he finished this year, and obviously, well, he's got that crazy water suit or whatever that Nike made. With the sleeves and the fueling, everything is getting so crazy in these things. But so he's hoofing it in. You got the track. He breaks he doesn't break the record. I think he was a little bit behind Jim's record, but he wins, gets across the finish line, and then within 5 seconds, it felt like he had a newborn baby. Congratulations. They're handing him this newborn baby. And I think for probably a couple minutes, he's just holding this baby after running for 14 straight hours. I think he even said after, he was like, I was so done with the running, I was over it. At the end of these 100 miles, especially when you go out like that, he just mangled, and just holding a newborn baby for it felt like 5 minutes. I remember screaming at the screen yo, get the pictures, awesome moment. Someone get the baby out of his hand. Oh my gosh. So Caleb Olson, he's a favorite. Also more top contenders, Adam Peterman, aka Adam Peter God. That's what David Roach calls him. I just think it's so funny. He's going to be in the race as well. So that is the men's race. And then the women's race, you have the iconic Katie Scheid, we'll call her White Mountains local, part of the Hut crew, grew up in Maine. I know she lives in France now, but I mean, just a beast. Has just been crushing the trail scene the last few years. One of the best in the world. She's going to get a crack at the 50-mile trail long world championship. And then also Hillary Girardi of France, but she has the Mahusicut Traverse FKT, so I feel like, I don't know, I just knew her name from that, so it's Hillary, she's from France, but we'll root for her. And then 2 other people from the U.S. I didn't know, but Allison Baca and Emily Schmidt, so good luck to them. They are top contenders. And then the other race that is happening this weekend is the Up-Down. So I think they space it they do the same thing with when they have the Centipede Scramble and stuff, the up and then the Up-Down, I think are on different days, so most of people will race them both. And I think they do the up first. So I feel like you can recover a little bit better from that as opposed to the Up-Down. So the Up-Down this weekend. I would assume that Remy Bonnet is going to run it, but then some other people that were talked about, I think a couple people from the U.S. The first one, Mason Coppey. So he ran second in the 2025 U.S. Mountain Running Champs, fourth in 2024, and then 10th in 2023 up-down. So Mason Coppey, that is a name I recognize. He ran the Chicora Mountain Race. So this was 2022. He ran the Chicora Mountain Race, which is cool. Like, obviously, he is, like, you just heard the results. He was second in the U.S. last year, or this year at the Trail Championship. So one of the best runners in the U.S., one of the best runners in the world. He ran Chicora in 2022. And so I'm just going to read the top 5 results of that Chicora race because, obviously, you know, I don't really know him. And you can do these like, oh, they race this person all you want, like the transitive, like, but and he was younger. He was 2024 and he ran it, so this was a few years ago. But he came in fourth. He came in fourth in a time of 2 hours and 33 minutes in the Chicora Mountain Race, which is blazing fast. Great time. That year, first place was Jordan Fields. He ran it in 2 hours and 16 minutes. Then Ryan Kempson was 6 minutes behind Jordan, and then Daniel Jackson was 9 minutes behind Kempson. Then it was Mason Coppey, and then it was Michael Connolly 2 minutes after him. And so when I see that, it's like, there are some sluggers in New England like that run in these White Mountains. Like, obviously Ryan Kempson is a stud. Jordan Fields, everyone knows Jordan Fields, Pemi Loop FKT holder, had the Prezi FKT, had the Hut Traverse FKT. Daniel Jackson, super fast guy from Maine, who I think he moved out west. Everyone knows Michael Connolly around here. Like, they're in the mix with this guy who's running in these World Mountain Championship races. And yeah, obviously that's just one race. I don't know how, who knows how Mason was feeling. I think obviously he's probably fitter now, but I think it's just cool to see, like, there are a lot of strong runners in New England, and when you bring world-class people out into these trails, a lot of the people around here can compete, so that's cool. And I will say, the next year, Mason Coppey ran at the Sunapee Scramble, which was in New Hampshire. He ran, I think he came in 10th, and I think there were a handful of people from New Hampshire, New England that got in like top 30, top 40. Like, I know Ryan Kempson run that. I know Ben Thompson, Pierre Penoyer. There were a couple other people that were like top 40. So, and Mason came in 10th that year. So obviously, but that is a shorter race. But I think it just goes to show that, like, there are some super strong runners out here, and I love when the elite runners come and run some of these races, and then when they have like the trail championships locally here, it's super cool for some of our hometown folks to throw down on it. So, okay. And now we'll talk about the women's race for the up-down. So the women's race, there are a couple people. So I think Anna Gibson, yeah, so she ran the uphill, and she got third. It sounds like from this that she's going to run it again. Lauren Gregory, it sounds like she's going to run the up-down. She is blazing fast. I think she ran the Jigger Johnson 20-mile either last year or the year before. I think she came in second just behind like Dan Kurtz. Like, she is crazy fast. I think she won the U.S. She must have won the U.S. Trail. Let's see if it says here. She's got some big finishes. She's one of the fastest runners in trail runners in the U.S. and the world. So she's going to be there. Allie McLaughlin, who everyone knows about. She ran good at the Sunapee Scramble when we had it. So she's going to be there. And just a stacked field. So a bunch of runners from the U.S. It's kind of cool to see, people from the U.S. go out and do like these world championships and see where they end up. And then also, those same people are like coming and doing stuff in the White Mountains from time to time. So that's like just super cool to see. And I think it's 1.2, like, this is what I was thinking about a lot recently. Or I don't know, I feel like everyone goes down this rabbit hole. But yeah, sometimes when you get too deep into like looking into all of these people and like all, the world championships, and that is like what you spend the most time on, it is definitely daunting. Like, wow, these, and you hear these people's stories. They're like, yep, I've been running since I was in high school at a national level, and I just have decades of just crazy fitness, crazy base that I'm building on. And I think sometimes, I mean, for me personally, I feel like everyone gets this way. And this is kind of like the Strava. I think I'm going to talk about that too, why I don't go on Strava too much, but we'll talk about at the end. But yeah, it's kind of daunting when you see some of these people and see how fit they are, how long they've been training, and you're just like, I should just give up. Like, I'm never going to get that fit. I'm never going to, and obviously everyone's got to have different goals, but I do think, a lot of these people, like, maybe it's easy just to be like, oh, well, they're pros. They can just train all the time. Oh, they have crazy genes. They have like all this background stuff, and all that stuff is true. But I just think that is not the best attitude. Like, I'm going to run this in with the motivational quote. So this is the motivational minute plus a little bit of perspective on world-class athletes. This was a Kung Fu Panda, which honestly I haven't watched in a while. This is a Kung Fu Panda quote, but I saw it the other day, and I think the whole scheme of like, there's something special about something, and there's like this old like little monk turtle person, and Kung Fu Panda is like, all right, you gotta tell, what is the secret? What is the secret to it? And he just goes, there is no secret. There's no special ingredient. And the panda just goes, there's no special ingredient. And I think that's really relating this to the World Trail Championships. I really think, like, you can say whatever you want about these top athletes, but I think there really is no secret to like getting to that level. They have just been doing this for years and years and years, getting better and just dedicating so much time to it. And I think, another quote, I think there was a John Danaher, he's like a jiu-jitsu coach, but he said that 99% of people are like, pretty much everybody can become world-class at at something if they dedicate their whole life to it and then work for like a decade to get to it. And I think the only exception he said was like, if you're talking about sports, and a lot of this stuff is sports, like your power output, a lot of that is genetic, and a lot of that has to do with like you do peak in like your 20s. So if you want to be like a world-class sprinter, even like miler, you're probably out of luck. It's probably not going to happen. But for everybody else, like anything that involves skill, and for running, like aerobic development, you can get stronger aerobically into your 40s. Like people, oh my God. I don't know what kind of car that is, but can I spin this around? I don't know what car that is, but what is it doing at the Livermore Trailhead? Oh my God, he's gonna park next to us. I will say, I was wearing this mic. I don't know if you can hear this or not. I was wearing this mic the other day near a road, and I was like, there were just cars passing. But I was super impressed at this mic. I don't know if you can hear this, but this guy's like, okay, buddy. I don't know what that guy's doing. It's just a crazy car I've never seen. Like, it's like a Mustang or like something. I flipped it around so you guys can, if you're on the YouTube video, you can see this, but, oh my gosh, this is painful. This is painful to watch. This is painful to listen to. This is horrible podcasting. Come on, man, just shut it off, please. We may have to cut this. All right, I'm just gonna ignore it. Okay, so yeah, as if you're not trying to do something that's like pure power, like sprinter, like NFL player, NBA player, something like that, that has like skill, technique, and then aerobic capacity is like something that you can build, you can become like world class at it if you truly dedicate like everything to it. And I think it's so easy for like people that work Monday to Friday that got into running in their 20s like me, that's just like, I'll never get to whatever, this fitness, and it kind of like makes you feel down about yourself. But in reality, those people have just sacrificed more than you, have just worked harder than you, and just done it longer. And I mean, the best time to start anything is 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Like, if you're in your 20s, even your 30s, and you stack years of training, like you have 10 years to build on top of your current fitness. And who knows, like don't let someone else put a limit on like how fast or how fit you could get. Like if you have a big goal, go out. If you got something to prove, go prove it. Like make those sacrifices like, oh, well, I have to work. Well, it's like some people literally quit their jobs to go and do this. Like if you want it that bad, you're going to find a way. And like another quote, this is like, boom, we're just throwing quotes at you right now, is there is somebody in every field that has acquired world-class success that has had worse conditions than you have right now. And that, like, I think that says it all. Like, obviously we all can't be David Goggins and just go like 1,000% every single day. But the truth is a lot of these people have just worked harder than you and just want it more than you. And so, yeah, when you think about it like don't put a limit on yourself, and then whatever you think you got in you, just work, match that belief with effort, and you're gonna see like insane results. So I'm not saying we can all go out and run with the Kenyans and Rennie Bonnet at the uphill championship, but we can get closer than you think for sure. Everyone overestimates what they can do in a year and underestimates what they can do in 5 years. Make a 5-year plan. You're going to be light years ahead of where you think you can be if you put in the work. Holy smokes, that got out of hand. I don't know if I had to cut the whole car thing, but all right, that's all I have to say about that. That was the motivation for the week, and that was the Trail World Championships, kind of a recap for the couple races, and then the preview for this weekend's races. So next up, we're going to talk about the Boott Spur Throwdown. We'll touch on this briefly, but I think there are just a couple things I want to talk about. So one, David Sinclair. I think this is a perfect dovetail from what we were just talking about. David Sinclair, Vermont guy. Probably most people have heard of him, but he goes to CCC this year and comes in second. And I mean, CCC is UTMB is one of the biggest races in the world. CCC is the same thing as UTMB, just a little bit shorter, 100K of UTMB, and it's just as competitive, maybe more competitive, because I feel like shorter races, you just get kind of more of the competitive athletes. He comes in second. And then, less than 2 weeks later, he comes to New Hampshire and runs the Boott Spur Throwdown, which is just awesome to see. But he put a blazing time. So he went 40-something, I think 40 minutes and like 45 seconds, which is just super fast. I mean, there are a bunch of times in that Throwdown, but it's cool to see, like, that's what I'm talking about, world-class people coming and like doing stuff in the White Mountains. And then he runs this. I feel like when he comes out and runs that, he gets the $300 gift card, Godspeed. But he basically sets a bar, like lets everybody who, is saying, oh, who wants to go put a time compared to his, can go do it. Like, that's so awesome. And so there were a ton of super strong times. A bunch of, I think almost the top 10 were all in the 40s, which is super fast on there. And then you can just compare and see, like, this guy is one of the best in the world. Here's how I stack up. And so I think that's just super cool. And 2 minutes behind him, so Lars Hogney ran 42-something, so he was just 2 minutes behind David Sinclair. But this dude is, I think he's from Stratford, New Hampshire. I don't know if he's 19 or 20. I don't have it in front of me. But dude is 19 or 20. This dude is gonna be fast. Holy smokes. I think on his ultra sign-up, he had like a few trail races, so I don't know what, I'm sure he's a cross-country guy. But yeah, to be that young and that fast, dude has a lot of stuff ahead of him. So that was a super strong time by him. And then some other of the regulars ran it. So I know Stephen Kerr put a really good time down. Actually, I think he was the second place time. I think he reran and ran a little bit faster than Lars. And then you have Pierre, Jonathan McIroney, a handful of the regulars come out and run that and put down super strong times on that. And then for the women, Caitlin Patterson ran it. So we were talking a little bit about the uphill men's championship and like the gap. Caitlin Patterson has a 7-minute lead on second place. So she ran it in like 53 minutes and something. And I think number 2 is about an hour right now. So, I mean, a 7-minute gap, that is, she was flying out there. So that's kind of the Boott Spur Throwdown. And that was from the website. So I didn't check the Strava segment recently. So there may have been a couple other people that snuck in there, but we'll do like we'll go through all the standings next week and make sure all of that is 100% accurate. But the Boott Spur Throwdown, super cool. And I think all the Throwdowns this year have been super popular that Run the Whites has put on. And I think it's like something, obviously we have all the trail races, which has been great to kind of grow the scene in the White Mountains. But I think these Throwdowns are like awesome opportunities. Like they're same as the races, but it's kind of like an FKT-ish style. Like you just do them in a month. And Drummond has been giving out prizes to the top 10 people, which is like so cool. Like, it's a gift card, so, but I mean, we use all this running stuff anyway. But it just incentivizes, like, if you're super fast and you want to go prove it on one of these climbs, go out there, get $100, couple $100. Like that's just like opportunity that has like not been had. In a way, it's kind of like sponsoring runners, kind of like that's what sponsors will give people money for entries. And like obviously these big races like the Mount Washington Road Race, they get a prize. I think it's like $1,000 or a couple $1,000. Like that's what brings these like pros out. So when we're putting money on these Throwdowns, or Run the Whites is putting money on these Throwdowns, it's just incentivizing like more competition and more people to get after the route. And I think it's awesome. So, and honestly, I think I was halfway through the summer and I saw that they were giving away money and I was kind of like, yo, they're giving away money for these? My summer was kind of all over the place, but I think next year I definitely want to try to get out, on as many of those segments as I can. I was thinking about maybe doing the Throwdown this weekend, but I have a wedding later. I have to kind of get out of here in a little bit. So it's just so far. It's like Pinkham Notch is the farthest drive from if you're coming up 93. So it's just hard to get over there. But more incentive. There's money on the line too. So yeah, that was kind of the Boott Spur Throwdown. And then Bubbas. What weekend is Bubbas? Hold on. There is service at the Livermore parking lot. I think it might be next weekend. All right, it's October 4th, so we're just going to do a Bubbas preview. I'm just going to pull this up, and we're going to do a quick Bubbas preview, go through the entrance list. So 104 entrants. I think it's pretty hard to. I think it sells out. I think it's hard to get into Bubbas, so I think maybe there's just 100 people going. But we'll go through some of the names. Michael Connolly, everyone knows Michael Connolly, and the Whites has 1 billion crowns. He's been running the White Lakes Ultras most Mays, so he does have a lot of, or a handful of like flat race experience. I don't know if he's done a last man standing, so he is definitely going to be one of the stronger people out there. Emily Walker is the top female right now I know her name from, yes, she's super strong. So Emily Walker's top female. Who else we got? Dawson Adams, young guy from New Hampshire. Lindsay Klickenstein. So those are some of the top, just like based on the ultrasound ranking. Tyler Kuntz. I ran the Jigger Johnson the first year with him. He ran the 100K. He's a grid finisher. I just did a YouTube video about the grid, or just explaining the grid. He's a super strong runner and a super strong athlete. I think he does really well at this race. Adam Ribeiro, I think he's done this a couple times. Super strong runner, can do all types of races and does them all super well. Connor Brown, he's kind of a southern New Hampshire guy. Goes to the Uncanunics a bunch. He's super strong. I think he did it last year. I think he ran 105 last year. So he's definitely going to be in there. Erica Notini, she won the Jigger Johnson 100 mile this year, so she's a savage. So she is certified savage. She's going to be up there. JP Kroll, who's done this a bunch. Taylor Miller, she's a super strong runner. She came in second at Jigger Johnson 50 this year, 12th at the Loon Mountain race. She won Kilkenny 50 last year. She puts down a lot of miles. So she's a super strong runner. Lucas Julatis, Gorham, New Hampshire. I've seen his name before. Oh yeah, he's done Bubbas before. He came in 4th last year. All right, so he did 130 miles last year. So he's gonna be one of the top guys. Yeah, so it should be a good race. Austin Black. Bill Cobb. I thought that was Bill. I thought that was Bill Tidd, the New Hampshire 4K supported FKT holder. But yeah, it looks like that race is sold out. There's a bunch of people who have done it before, so we'll see. We'll see how long they go. I think it's funny. I mean, the last skier standing takes this to a whole nother level. But I do think it's funny when like these races come out, like the hype is like so high for these races. Everyone's starting it. Like the last man standing races are super cool. Like you can have your support. You're with people. You can chat. It's very social. It's very high energy. And then 24 hours goes by, the energy is mostly gone from the race. Most of the people have left, and it's just a handful of savages getting after it to like no applause, like one person who's like still willing to like cook. And I haven't been to Bubba, so maybe it's like a better, but I think it is funny, like when these races go on for days, towards the end, like it's just hard to keep energy up for these events for the whole time. So, and honestly, at that point, these people don't even need the support. They either want to do another lap, or they're done and they don't want to do another lap. So that was the Bubbas preview. Yeah, what else we got? So, I touched on this a little bit. Why I don't post on Strava, and then my week of training. So maybe we'll talk about that. But I guess the why I don't post on Strava too much. Like I'll post like if I'm doing like a segment or something like that, or a race, I do post that stuff. But I guess this kind of goes back to kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like I think Strava is a great tool. I think it's a great motivator. It's a great way to connect with people, to compete with people. Like on leaderboards and stuff, I think it's obviously tracking everything, like, you know, especially with GPS watches, like it just legitimizes efforts too. You can see other people's efforts. I think all that stuff is super good, but I also think it is social media. And I think it's a pretty fair thing to say that like most people know there's a lot of negative effects from social media. And I think those same things apply to Strava. So I think like, and I'm not on much social media. Obviously got the YouTube going now on the podcast, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, I think like you just get into this comparison battles with people on how fast you are. Like if you start just looking at segments on Strava, you will inevitably end up on some crazy segment with some crazy time by some crazy person, and you're just like, wow, I just ran, you know, an easy run at a snail's pace, and I felt horrible on it. Like you just feel like, this is brutal. And I think negative, like avoiding kind of those negative thoughts and like comparison, right? Comparison, thief of joy. Obviously you don't want to like get into the comparison battle with some of these top elite athletes. That's never good for your confidence, but yeah, it's just comparing people in general. And I think everybody is different. Everybody reacts different to training and has different training styles. So I think it's easy to go on Strava and see how people are training and think like, oh, I have to do this. And I think it's subliminal. Like you're like, no, I don't really care about mileage. But when you're looking at, you know, the people that you kind of compare yourself to, and you start like, oh, maybe this week I want to hit this mileage goal, or like, oh, I was going to do a down week, but now let's just get this mileage goal. And I think For me personally, it just is not beneficial for training to always be seeing what other people are doing and always comparing my training to that, because you train every day, so it's like you're always comparing yourself when you're on Strava a lot. And I have just found that like my best periods of training are when I am not even looking at Strava or Garmin. Like I have a Garmin watch, so everything uploads to Garmin Connect, but I'm not even looking at Garmin Connect or my data. I basically, for my speed workout, I'll know the splits and I'll look at the times, and like I keep track of that, and I actually log all of those separately. But everything else just run by feel. If you're not having a good day, don't look at the data, don't look at pace. You're just developing aerobic and whatever. And so my best training blocks have been like where I upload 3 weeks of runs to my Garmin. And sometimes it drops like some of the runs randomly, but yeah, you upload all of that, and then I look at some of the runs. I'm like, wow, those are some good runs. Like that's when I'm training the best. So that's why I kind of like steer clear of Strava, but it is a double-edged sword. Like obviously, you don't want to be like super antisocial, and like it is a good way to connect. So, but I think there's a balance. There's a balance, and for me, like a lot of the times, like just staying off is kind of like the best approach for what I'm doing. And so that's kind of the whole Strava rant. Pros and cons to it. Everyone's got their own opinion. I think ultimately, if you're staying healthy and you're getting faster, keep doing what you're doing. Like that is the goal. I think we're gonna make this the motto of the podcast and the YouTube channel. Stay healthy, get faster. Like that is, for me, that is the goal every week, every month. And just, yeah, push myself. And if I just keep doing that, staying healthy and getting faster, good things will happen. Staying healthy just means you're getting out. Getting faster means training's productive and things are going in the right direction. So that's going to be the new motto, and that's kind of the Strava rant. But yeah, I'll go through training this week. So I did, I started doing a couple training videos on YouTube. They didn't go, I don't think people really like them. You see a lot of data on the YouTube channel, and I don't think people like those videos. But so I was thinking about, I'll just like maybe chat about the week of training like during this podcast. If if you like it, good. If you don't, then maybe we cut these out of the podcast too. No one cares about training, but I like talking about training. So yeah, so this week of training, like I took a rest day on Monday. We'll always take a rest day. Tuesday, I did 1 minute intervals on the Stairmaster. So I think I did 20, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And yeah, the Stairmaster, and this kind of goes into like how fast should you be doing speed work, how hard you should be doing speed work. I think the Stairmaster is a great tool for training for the mountains. I think it is, like, I feel like uphill running is one of the lowest impact. You can recover from it quick. So if you're struggling with an injury, if you're building volume, if you're just trying to be cautious of your training load, a Stairmaster is a great way to get like uphill work in without running down and getting that impact. So I do a lot of Stairmaster workouts. The week before I did 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, and I did that for 10 reps. This week, the goal is to basically match that, but do it in a shorter period of time. So I did like, this week I did, no, I take that back. Sometimes I'll do like 50 seconds or 45 seconds of rest in between the 1 minutes, but this time I just did the same amount of work over the same period of time. But I think the heart rate was a lot lower. 1 minute intervals are just easier. And next week, I'll basically try to build off of the Stairmaster workout that I did 2 weeks ago. So I did 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. I'm basically going to try to do that same thing, but do it basically either at a lower heart rate or increase the intensity like by a couple of the reps, by like one level on a couple of the reps, to kind of like force progressive overload. And I think for the speed workouts, a lot of the time, like I think in running, and you hear like all the top athletes talk about this, like the pro athletes like always be like, oh, I'm hitting workouts good. Like I think workouts are your key runs to getting faster. So if your workouts are getting faster, that's like the biggest thing to kind of indicate that you're progressing properly. And then outside of those key runs, like harder workouts or like moderate runs, you just load up the easy runs and you can build volume doing that. But I think sometimes I get into the route of like, I do a similar workout, I do a similar stair workout, or I go to the track and I just do like 1 mile reps. And I kind of fall into like doing the same workouts a lot. And if you do it for a while, you kind of get stagnant. And, you know, as you're getting fat, the goal is to always be getting faster. But sometimes it's just like every week I'm going out there and just trying to like top what I did last week. And when you're running those like VO2 max workouts or like shorter rep workouts, it just really hurts. And so like sometimes it gets like daunting to do the workouts. And I feel like when I get into a funk of like I'm just going too hard on workouts all the time, what I found is a good reset is one, always just like rest week. Like I think doing rest weeks every like 4 or 5 weeks is like huge. I always do that, but yeah, if you're ever feeling burnt out, obviously rest week. But also like one, switching up a workout entirely. So if you're used to doing like shorter reps, go out and do like a tempo run instead, or like 2 10-minute intervals, or like whatever, something that's like completely different stimulus than you're used to doing. That's a good way to mix it up. And like if you've been doing it on flat or like the track or roads, do it on a hill. If you've been doing lots of hill stuff, do something flat, and like that will kind of like just use different muscles and kind of like get your mind out of like that same routine that you're used to. And then also, I think it's good sometimes to just be like, I'm just gonna go run something hard for an hour, like race something for an hour. Because that, obviously like racing, you know, if you're healthy, like racing something or going super hard is like good, and it kind of like gets it out of your system. And it pushes you, and you're probably gonna surprise yourself, and then you're like, oh no, I'm good. Like I thought I was kind of being stagnant, but no, I'm that was a super good time. Like I'm super happy with that. So yeah, if your speed work is getting kind of stagnant, mix it up or do like a race effort, and then the next workout that you have, take it off, and then the next week you start building again. And so that's kind of like, yeah, I kind of got into a funk recently with the workouts I've been doing. So yeah, that was one thing I was thinking about. If I'm just like waking up every day and like dreading the workout and just afraid of the pain, one, I have to get mentally stronger, and two, you probably got to mix something up and change something up. So that was my Tuesday. That was my Tuesday. On Wednesday, I'm doing a lot of cross training right now because I have an ankle injury from the summer that's just like still nagging me a little bit. So I've just been like more safer. So I've just been cross training a lot. So like Wednesday, I just did like an hour on the bike. Yeah, I just biked easy. And then Thursday, I did a flat road run. I hadn't done that in a while actually. I think road runs, if you haven't done it in a while, are good to mix in and like get your speed going a little bit, get your turnover going. So did a road run. That went fairly well, but I haven't been doing like a ton of like running, and especially flat running. So my running economy is not great right now. So, but that's something that I will definitely be making gains on this fall. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So that was Thursday. Did I double Thursday? I might have done like a bike in the afternoon. Or no, I didn't double Thursday. And then Friday, easy bike. And then today, I did the Tripyramid loop. Yeah, the Tripyramids, I'll talk about that. And then tomorrow, I'm going to go for a bike ride. So a couple hours on the bike there. But yeah, we'll talk about the Tripyramids today. So yeah, initially I was almost like, maybe I want to race something or like go, you know, give something a good effort today. But ended up deciding against it. So I came to the Tripyramids. It's like one of the closest routes for me. I've done this route like 3 or 4 times this summer already. I don't know why I've come here a bunch this summer, but I've come here a bunch. And I mean, it's just gonna be like a clear, super awesome fall day. Like it was gonna be in like the 70s, so it was like a little warm, but not like hot. Like it was a little humid, but not like obviously summer hot. Like this is probably one of the last summer-ish days. But yeah, we're starting out. The first few miles are like, it's like a dirt road almost. Like it's just like super maintained, like forest road. So it's super smooth, super fast. The foliage was good. And I start climbing up, past a handful of people. And I was thinking like it rained last night and it's kind of humid this morning. I wonder if it's gonna be like slick up there. I'm going up the North Tripyramid slide. And so I start hiking up. So like you have like 3.5 miles of flat, and then it kind of gives a little bit of a vert, and then you just start going straight up. So like before you get to the slide, there's like this rock kind of route that I guess is like kind of the bottom of the slide. And there are some spots in the trail where there's like kind of like a herd path off to the side of that rock path that you can kind of take and like not be on the super steep, slick rock. So I took that for a little while, and then I kind of bumped out into the rock. And then, yeah, these rocks were all slippery, and a lot of them were mossy. And if you're not in the woods, there's no like branches or trees to like hold on to. So yeah, at one point there was like a little section where I had no holds. I'm running with like old Speedgoats, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is actually kind of slick right now. I have to be kind of careful. So I'm going up, and like I'm like, this one section, I was going super slow. I was like, it felt like I was like protecting myself from slipping and falling. Like obviously it's not like super exposed. I'm not like crazy against heights, but I'm not like someone that will just go put their toes over the edge of the cliff for no reason. But yeah, for a little bit, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was gonna film like a little YouTube video. I think I may be sending out an SOS here shortly. No, kidding. But I figured once I got up to the slide, the rocks would dry out. But yeah, that section before you bumped up the slide was super slick, mossy, slimy, and I was skating a little bit out there. So that was kind of like, it didn't go as smooth as I thought it was. But then I got up to the slide. I think I passed one person from like in the woods up to the slide. And then I got up to the slide. There was nobody up there. It was like beautiful views. I just made a little video talking about what the grid is. So that's on YouTube if you want to look at that. But yeah, it was just like gorgeous up there. So spent a good amount of time up there, just taking it in, like fall foliage. The colors aren't popping a ton this year, I feel like. I think it's because it's drier out, or so they say. But yeah, it was super nice up there, like perfect weather. I was like, oh, I could, this is like very cool, like a tiny light breeze, super enjoyable. So hopefully if you listen to this, you got out this weekend. I'm sure you did. It's just a great weekend to be out. But yeah, hit the north Tripyramid slide, hit North Tripyramid, went over to middle, south, saw a couple trail runners out there with a little doggo, which was cool, and then went down the south Tripyramid slide, which honestly, that descent is like, obviously it's not as hard as the North Tripyramid slide, but it is rocky and gravelly and loose. And I think there's like 3 sections of like kind of like slide, like open slide. And the first 2 come and you're like, all right, that was okay. And then you get into the woods and you're like, oh, that was it. That wasn't that bad. And then you pop out to the last one. But then once you get down the slide, I think there's a Strava segment that's like, cruising on whatever. There's like 1.5 miles or 2 miles. It's like super, super runnable, super flat, perfect grade. And then once you get out there, you have like 2.5 miles of like perfect runnable grade on those forest rows out. So it's a good hike, and it's like kind of like a quick, if you're coming up from 93 in New Hampshire, it is, yeah, I wouldn't say it's one of the quickest hikes, but it's definitely one of the quicker hikes, and closest driving. So had a good day on there. Gonna enjoy the fall. Like I said, go for a bike ride, and then next weekend I'll probably, I think I'm gonna push an uphill if there are good conditions, and I can get out. This September was the month of weddings for me, so I've just been super busy. But October, I have more free time coming up, so I'm gonna definitely get out. And usually in the fall, for some reason, I don't know, I feel like in the fall, just busy doing stuff, but I don't get up in the whites as much. This fall, I'm definitely gonna be getting up more. I think like the next month, like the summers feel like they're getting a little longer, just like, I guess it hasn't been super hot, but like today's like 80. Like I just feel like October and even into like early November before it gets icy, the trails out here are just money. So that's pretty much, what do we got here? 50 minutes. That's pretty much all I got. Yeah, this is the longest podcast to date. Let's go set a record. Yeah, appreciate everybody watching. the goal is to keep getting these better and better. I don't know, hopefully the quality, the audio, everything's getting better. If you have any topics you want me to talk about, comment them. You have any ideas, if you push back on anything I say, I sure am going to say some stupid things on this podcast. So if you want to call me out, call me out. If you want to disagree, we can chat about it. But yeah, no, I appreciate everyone listening. I feel like there's been a lot of support. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully you got out this weekend, enjoy the nice fall weather, and we will see you next time. Peace.